evening. My name is Brett Peterson from Gustavus Adolphus College, the American Hockey Coaches Association president. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you here this evening to this great celebration of men's hockey. I think one of the words or themes that you will hear this evening is that of family. And let me give you a couple of examples. We have a lot of families here this evening of our award winners. And a special welcome to have all of you here with us. To all of our coaching staffs that are here, we become family too. For how much time that we spend doing what we love to do and the travel that our jobs entail, we become like family. USA Hockey has become like family to this great organization as well. Roger Grillo, Kevin McLaughlin, and Mike McMillan are here this weekend from USA Hockey. They are our sponsors of this evening. If we could just join in a round of applause and thank them for their sponsorship. Thank you, Mike. And on a personal note, my family this weekend, our Board of Governors, has been truly supportive of myself in this a first-year term for of 3, and with all the trials and tribulations that come with that, I just want to send out a special thank you to our Board of Governors for all the help and support that you have given me here this weekend. Joining our family this weekend, we're happy to have John Butchergross from ESPN. John was a keynote speaker here yesterday, did a terrific job, and has offered to stick around an additional day to be our Masters of Ceremony. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce from ESPN, John Butchergross. John?
Great to be back tonight. I know the crowd is similar of yesterday's, but there are some new people here today. It's really an easy thing to say yes to. I talked about it yesterday, how influential coaches have always been in my life, parents and coaches. And so to see coaches honored tonight, I always like being around those situations. And also the non-varsity teams. Like I talked about yesterday, part of my path to ESPN was going to a small school that had a campus TV station, radio station, newspaper, and I also play some sports. I played a couple years on the golf team, but also playing intramural sports, and it wasn't even the non-varsity level, but still, I would get nervous before games, and if it was a co-ed softball championship or a basketball championship, it still meant a lot to me, and it can mean a lot to a school, it can mean a lot to a student's experience. It's something we should build up and prop up and continue to support, because I think it's really important. It was very important to me. It's one of the special times of my college life were those intramural sports, because you were the GM, you were the coach, you owned it, and you organized it, and it was a great lesson and a great exercise as you hit the real world. So, like I said, coaches and non-varsity sports means a lot to me, so this is natural for me. Yesterday, when I was thinking about tonight, I thought maybe one way to start the evening. I recently did a video blog, we call it, on ESPN.com. I talked about yesterday how the industry is changing, my industry, and they really don't want me to write hockey columns anymore. I've done it since 2001. They want me to do podcasts and video blogs, because video on people's smartphones and podcasts while they're driving. That's what they want you to do. That's what ESPN wants me to do. So I did one recently on hockey lingo. I think we have it queued up. One of the things I love about hockey is the lingo, and as I talk about in the piece, this new generation is really amped it up, and there's all kinds of terms for passes and shots and goals, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to start collecting some of these things and put it together and do it with video and with sound effects and things like that, and I thought I would get a decent reaction, and certainly enough on Twitter, the reaction from some of the players you coach in this room in high school, and even some of the men's league, the beer leagues, they got kind of a decent reaction to this. So we thought the way to kind of kick off the festivities, something light and fun. Take a look at my latest collection. Not every bit of hockey lingo, but the latest hockey lingo that the kids are talking about at your local rink. Play it, Sparky.
language of lingo for quite a while in all sports, and that includes hockey. The sin bin, face wash, the one-timer, goon, five-hole sieve, the biscuit. However, it seems as if there's been a proliferation of hockey lingo in the past decade or so. Some of it's Twitter and the creative writing and hashtagging it generates. Video gamers who for 14 years like to talk smack while they wheel to the Ron Burgundy-like dulcet tones of Jim Houston in their basements and dorm rooms. And some of it is just the new generation of hockey players and young fans seeking its own and unique voice and vocabulary for the game they love. For instance, in most sports, it's "let's go, fellas," or "come on, guys." In hockey, the term is "boys," usually used with the dialect of the movie Top Gun, where every phrase Maverick and the rest of the pilots utter during the last 15 minutes of the movie is said quickly and said twice in a row. Watch your left, watch your left, watch your right, watch your right. Top Gun plus Mike Rupp equals, "here we go, boys, here we go, boys." We don't have time to give you the entire hockey lingo dictionary, but here are some you might have heard, some you might not have, and some I just made up. Beauty. Any respected, unique, funny, sometimes unintentionally funny, loyal, interesting, likable, energetic hockey person. Barry Melrose is definitely a beauty. So is Sean Claudine, Keith Jones, Scott Hartnell. The opposite of a beauty? Scrub. Or in playing terms, the guy with the $300 skates but can't play, he's a bender, a duster, a plug, or a hit. In basketball, you talk smack or trash talk. In hockey, if you're Steve Ott, you chirp. Incessant chirping could lead to lots of incidents and fighting, or what some refer to as the gong show. Someone that battles in the corner and plays with a high level of grit is a mucker or a grinder. This man, like Boston's Brad Marchand or New Jersey's David Clarkson, also possesses lots of sandpaper. When you have a healthy and striking head of hair like Henrik Lundqvist, Patrick Sharp, or Chris Letang, you have flow. Thus, their helmets become flow buckets. These players like Gabriel Landeskog, Louis Eriksson, and Shark head coach Tom McClellan also have excellent salads or loss. NHL coaches are envious of Mike Babcock's lettuce. It once was the second star of a Red Wing playoff win in 2008. A player or coach with a robust mustache like George Penrose of Anaheim, Joel Quenneville or Paul McLean, or referee Don Van Massenhoven, well, they have a lip sweater, lip moss, lip lettuce, or a muzzy. The fourth liner who is not getting ice time from the coach in the third period and sits on the bench, well, he becomes a grocery stick in between players who do play. If you can skate fast during the game and or effectively talk to the ladies after the game, you can wheel. If you have great hands like Evgeny Malkin, you have soft mittens, sick mitts, or saucy paws. And this gives you the ability, like Ryan Getzlaf, to dangle and deliver sauce to your teammates, like the Islanders' John Tavares. Now, only a select few, like Pavel Datsyuk and Sidney Crosby, deliver hot, frothy sauce on time, every time. Yes, dangleitis is a good thing in hockey. An extreme case could make you the mayor of Dangle City. And when you're the mayor of Dangle City like Patrick Kane, you can be seen chucking, throwing, or tossing pizzas to your line mates. These players like Ovi, Stammer, and Jordan Eberle can score goals that are sick, dirty, filthy, and in Claude Giroux's case, raunchy. These top-shelf mitts from the likes of Jason Spezza and Tyler Seguin can deliver sinister twisted wristers or snipes that go upper 90 or top bunk, where mama hides the wheat thins. And at this point, it's bar down, hands up, and then time to give the people what they want, a world-class selling. Winner, winner, chicken parm dinner. Why I love the game. It's unique, it's interesting, and I hope you like my youth medium t-shirt that I wore for that video. I borrowed that from my friend Bob Daniels. Sun's out, guns out, Bobby, right?
Speaking of sun out, good to see Dick Umili again this year. Dick gave up sunscreen in 1984 for Lent. Just stayed with it, baby. Stayed with it. Good to see Mr. Jerry York in the lobby before the dinner tonight. I had no idea what he said, but it was a lovely conversation. Hey, they're doing John. Chris Kreider, John. Chris Kreider, John. My friend Rico Blasi here. Rico, stand up. No. Rico, stand up, please. I can't see him. All right. And then finally, of course, Coach Jack Paca, your friend and mine. Again, he was late yesterday to our proceedings for those who weren't here. He was promoting his new book, The 10 Most Influential College Hockey Coaches of All Time, and what I think of the other 9. He'll be in the lobby afterwards signing copies before he sails back up to Boston on his ship, the SS Jack frickin' Paca. So let's get right to it now. Let's honor some great people, influential people, as I mentioned. And to do that, let's bring up your friend of mine, Joe Britannia. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. I'm laughing because I'm going to try for the second night in a row to do this off of an iPad. And what I forgot was on this side of the street, you need a different code to get into your iPad. So we're going to try this differently.
Get that man a newspaper, quick.
Yeah, and that's why we printed out a backup copy. Before I start, I do want to, it's dangerous obviously to acknowledge people, but I think we can make one exception and we can agree on that. Last night at the women's celebration, we gave out a number of awards, and one, which is their Founders Award, went to Walter Bush. And as I mentioned last night, sometimes when you stand up here to read individuals' bios, you selectively edit for the sake of moving a dinner along. And when you read Walter's bio, you really can't edit it because every line is larger and more significant than the other. So I don't know where he's standing. Plus, I'm being blinded by these headlights here. So, Walter, could you please stand? He's somewhere. There he is. Walter. Everyone in this room has been affected directly or indirectly by Walter's efforts over the year and personal opportunities we've had and the opportunities for the game. My job is to present the 5 major AHCA awards, and we have many former award winners in the room. If you get a chance to look at the program tonight and see the company these 5 people will be joining, and also if you get a chance at the end of the evening to come up and take a look at the perpetual awards that are up here, and particularly the Spencer Penrose and Edward Jeremiah awards. 2, 3, 4. To look at what's been done to refurbish these awards. Some of them go back to the early 50s, and just, in fact, Bruce Delventhal, who did most of the work to get this done, we just saw them for the first time the other day when they came out of the crates, and they're spectacular. So please take a chance to get a chance to look at them. We're going to begin with the John Maruchi Award. John Maruchi, the former coach of the University of Minnesota, was not only an outstanding college coach, but also a driving force behind the growth of hockey in the United States. In 1987, the AHCA created this award to honor a secondary school association coach who best exemplifies the spirit, dedication, and enthusiasm of the godfather of U.S. hockey, John Maruchi. This year's recipient is Tom Osiki from Burnsville High School in Minnesota. Tom has forged a unique and varied coaching career in the state of Minnesota, currently assisting Olympian Natalie Darwitz at Lakefield South High School. He's played a major role in beginning and nurturing programs at all levels. His first coaching job was with the St. Agnes boys team in 1964, but he quickly moved to start the Burnsville High program in 1966. He built Burnsville into a powerhouse, staying there for 24 seasons and winning 2 state championships. He left the high school ranks briefly when he became an NHL scout for the Minnesota North Stars and the Dallas Stars from 1990 to 1995. Returning to high school hockey in 1996, he coached the Burnsville girls team for 2 seasons before starting the St. Olaf College women's program, coaching there from 2000 to 2004. Before his current assignment, he spent 2 years assisting Brad Frost in the University of Minnesota women's varsity program. A legend in Minnesota hockey circles, he was inducted into the Minnesota High School Hockey Coaches Hall of Fame in 1995, and he's received the Cliff Thompson Award given to members of the hockey community who make outstanding contributions to the sport in the state of Minnesota. Twice he was High School Coach of the Year while at Burnsville, and he also won the MIAC Coach of the Year award at St. Olaf. One of his two sons, Mark, is the head coach of men's ice hockey at Ohio State University, and it's kind of nice. Two of our award winners have sons playing and coaching in college hockey right now. It's my pleasure to present the 2012 Maruchi Award to Tom Osiki.
He's right. They're really bright. There's no doubt about that. Whew. Better put my sunglasses on so I can see. First off, I want to thank the American College Coaches Association for this honor. I'm humbled, especially by getting this particular honor, because John Maruchi really was my hero when he was coaching at Minnesota. By the way, I also believe that all of these awards, that really the only people that really deserve them were the people whose they were named after. But be that as it may, I will accept this award for the people who are really responsible for any of my hockey success. That would be certainly my family, and all you know how families and family support make a difference. Certainly my two sons that played for me and helped with all of the hockey during their careers, but also even before and after that, incredible support from them, and of course my wife Bev of many years. The second group that is responsible is certainly, the super assistant coaches and supportive staff. As you all know, you can't really do it without them. They are the difference. And thirdly, certainly you cannot do it with great student athletes. There is no way you can. You can't win the Derby with a donkey. And certainly, I went along for the ride with all the success, and I certainly appreciate it. I'd like to have a special thanks for all the people that came. Certainly my support table down here. Certainly my wife, Bev, my son, Mark, of course, he's from Ohio State, and his staff with him, Lane and Rawls and Joe. A really good friend of mine who I worked with at the University of Minnesota Gopher women teams, Eric Bakke, who's a really close friend. And then two very close friends from Minnesota, Steve and Joan Ross, who came down for it. And then lastly, my other son, Matt, and his wife, Stacy, who drove down 6 hours to get here with their twin one-year-old daughters who you've heard in the background here, Stacy and Stella. So I really appreciate what they've done. Congratulations to all award winners, whether the type that I am receiving, or Coach of the Year, or national champs, or conference champs, or conference playoff champs. It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of championships out there and awards, and you all deserve an incredible amount of credit. But I would especially like to congratulate all of you coaches. This week is a celebration of what you do. When you chose a life of coaching, you chose to make a difference in the lives you touch. So who are these people that we call coach? They are fathers, husbands, grandfathers, friends. They are givers of their time and talents to others. They are at times taskmaster, counselor, confidant, strategist, therapist, communicator, and visionary. The list is endless. Mostly, though, they are teachers. They teach cooperation, toughness, discipline, loyalty, compassion, sacrifice, preparation, accountability, and will. You teach lessons for life that will have a significant impact on all of your athletes. Congratulations. Thank you for what you do, and keep up the great work. As coach, you do make a difference. I would like to leave you with a quote, and people that know me know that I'm almost always going to pass on some quote. But this is for you as coaches and for your players. The highest reward for a person's effort is not what you get for it, but what you become by it. My Italian wife of 47 years always gives me some tips before I go to do anything, and almost always I listen to them. And she left me with these tips. Be organized, be thankful, and be seated. Thank you.
I'd like to remind all the award winners, in addition to the photos that Jennifer's taking here, we will have opportunities at the end of the evening for group photos by family or institution or whatever associations you have here. The event is also being videotaped, and we're going to try to archive some of these things and maybe get them on our website for people that weren't able to come down here. So afterwards, whether it's the families or we have some sponsored awards, those photo opportunities can come at the end of the evening. Next, we come to the Jim Fullerton Award, named in honor of the former Brown University hockey coach and spiritual leader of the AHCA. This award recognizes an individual who loves the purity of our sport. Whether a coach, administrator, trainer, official, journalist, or simply a fan, the recipient exemplifies Jim Fullerton, who gave as much as he received and never stopped caring about the direction in which our game was heading. This year's recipient is Wally Odell from Minnesota. Wally has influenced a great number of hockey players and coaches in more than 50 years of involvement in the grassroots development of youth hockey. He began his foray into local hockey administration in the Minnetonka Youth Hockey Association, where he was instrumental in getting the association on its feet in the mid-1960s. He then went on to help the Rosetta Youth Hockey Association in '67. Due to his success at local levels, he was tapped to serve on the state level as a vice president, which he did from 1978 to 1983. He also served USA Hockey on the Youth Council from '83 to '95. In addition, he was on the organizing committee for the 1982 IIHF World Junior Tournament held in Minnesota. He was involved in and helped run the Olympic development camps from 1978 to 1995. He was the Team West general manager of the National Sports Festivals in the early 80s, and with Ralph Jasinski, helped organize the 80 for 80 committee, dedicated to providing funding and administrative support for the 1980 Olympic hockey team. Said Tom Pert, quote, "While Odell's list of accomplishments is long and distinguished, perhaps the most important impact he had on hockey was that it is his goal to make hockey better for the kids playing the game. As a volunteer, he has given selflessly of his time to help young hockey players around Minnesota and across the country become better players and, more importantly, better people." Wally won the Minnesota Hockey Don Clark Award in 2005. Minnesota Hockey presents the Don Clark Award annually to an individual who, over a period of many years, has been dedicated to the grassroots growth and development of youth hockey in the state. The ideal candidate has voluntarily and unselfishly given of himself or herself to make the sport of hockey better by providing opportunities for youth to play and enjoy the game. He's the father of 5 and grandfather of 8. 2 of his sons are coaching youth hockey and 4 of his grandchildren are playing, and he will turn 85 in January. And the note here is also that he is still working. Wally was unable to make the trip down here, but in conversation with his family, it was agreed that a good friend, Mike McMillan, who works for the national coaching program for USA Hockey, who would be down here, would accept on Wally's behalf. So I'm going to call Mike McMillan up to accept the 2012 Jim Fullerton Award on behalf of Wally Odell.
Wally gave me some notes to read, so I'll do that, but it's a tremendous honor to be asked by Joe and Wally and his family to accept this prestigious award on his behalf. He's been an influence on my life and many others in the state of Minnesota that are involved with coaching, player development, and ultimately the kids at every different level. So here's a note from Wally Odell. Joe Bertania's letter advising me of being chosen as a recipient of the Fullerton Award was a great surprise, to say the least. In responding to this new event in my life, a flood of memories reaching back many years were brought back into my daily life. I owe much to the hockey community. I've had difficult times in my life, as we all do, and opportunities, experiences, and friendships of the hockey world have helped me through those challenging times. Mr. Bertania read a number of the accomplishments and things that Mr. Odell has been involved with, and they're special, of course, to him. One of the primary influences in my life was almost 3 years in the Army in World War II, more than 2 years in the infantry division with a final rank of staff sergeant, leading the battalion fire direction team in support of infantry in a regimental combat team. Accurate and efficient teamwork was essential. Hockey in the hockey community is a microcosm of the real world. The vital process of learning from our mistakes is enhanced by the lessons learned in hockey. The individual disciplines of hard work, practice, prepare us for the team discipline of working together. Teamwork, that's what it's all about. Oh yes, there's one more thing. Life is good at 89, but you have to work at it. Wally O'Dell. Thank you.
Next, we come to the Terry Flanigan Award. This award is named in honor of the former UNH player and Bowling Green assistant coach. It honors an assistant coach's career body of work. The 2012 recipient is Drew Famulak from Ferris State University. Drew has completed his 19th year as a hockey coach at Ferris State University. He started his coaching career in 1990 as a graduate student at Miami under current Denver head coach George Wozdecki. In August of 2003, he was promoted to associate head coach at Ferris State University. During that same year, the FSU staff was given the honor of the NCAA Coaching Staff of the Year after capturing the CCHA regular season championship and advancing to the NCAA Final 8 that year. In the last 6 years, Ferris has enjoyed 4 winning seasons, including a trip to the Joe Louis Arena and the CCHA Final 4. This was written when the release went out, and obviously we know what kind of season Ferris had this year in advancing to their first Frozen Four. Since his arrival at Ferris State University in the 1993-94 season, he has been instrumental in recruiting and coaching the following student athletes. And again, this is before this season, and excuse me for not updating these numbers. 9 All-Americans. How many can we add to that? 2 more, 3 more. 17 All-CCHA players, first and second team. I'm sure that's higher. 6 All-CCHA rookie team. 2 All-CCHA offensive defensemen. 2 scoring leaders. 1 Player of the Year, and a Hobie Baker Memorial Award hat-trick finalist. Said Bobby Daniels at the time that this award was suggested, quote, Drew has been an extremely loyal coach who has had numerous opportunities to leave for other programs, many perceived as, quote, bigger programs. Over the years, but he has remained steadfast in his desire to build a winning program here at Ferris State. He's extremely well-liked and respected within the campus community at Ferris. This includes faculty and administration. His attention to detail regarding our players' education is appreciated by not only the players and their parents, but by the professors as well. It's a true pleasure to present the 2012 Terry Flanigan Award to Drew Famulak of Ferris State University.
First off, I'd like to thank the American Hockey Coaches Association. I'd also like to thank Joe, Bruce, and Brett for all you guys do for us. I'd also like to thank Bill Kangas, who looks after making sure that the awards are sent out and voted on. Bill, your work does not go unnoticed. I'd also like to thank John Bucci-Gross for coming down, making this a special weekend, taking time away from his family, because we all know that John's passion is with college hockey, and he continues to do great things for our sport. When I received notice in January that I had won this award, I was humbled and honored. I had just returned about a week before from Smith Falls, Ontario, and it was a showcase, and there was between 50 and 60 or 70 Division I, Division III coaches that had gone in and out of there. It was 25 below, it was snowy, and every one of those guys that were there were very well deserving of this award. And I looked back, and I was just very humbled and honored to achieve this award this year. I'd also like to introduce a couple people that I have here with me. I've got my son of 12 years old, Ian, and I've got my daughter of 9 years old, Emma, and they're probably 2 of my biggest fans, and they're true Bulldogs and now part of the Bulldog Nation, as we call it, throughout college hockey. And as you saw in Tampa, the Bulldog Nation was loud and proud, and that is one thing that I'll never forget. 15 years ago, I met a girl on a recruiting trip, and she said to me, she said, "You should meet my friend." I said, okay, this is kind of weird. But she was dead serious. I said, okay, well, I said, well, just pass along my number and hopefully we'll have a chance to meet. So if you've never had a blind date before, I would suggest that if you're single, if you're married, ask your wife first. But if you're single, take a shot at the dark, because I did 15 years ago. And our first date, we played golf. A couple days later, we watched the Red Wings. And at that point, I knew this was the woman that I wanted to spend my life with. And my wife, Cheryl, is sitting here with my 2 children, and I just want to thank you for everything that you've done over the course of time. I took a unique path. I played 2 years at Lake Superior, and I played under Frank Anzalone, Jeff Jackson, and then in my second year, Jim Rock. And at the time, you don't realize how instrumental those 3 were in me becoming an assistant coach. I then transferred my last 2 years to Stevens Point, and I played for Mark Mazzolini and Joe Balderota. Those 2 guys also shaped my career. It was the spring of 1990, and I was just graduated. And Maz thought that I should become a graduate assistant. He thought I'd be a very good coach. We were on the back 9 at the Stevens Point Country Club, and we decided that's what I should do. I applied for the GA position at Miami of Ohio, and I don't know if Tim Whitehead is here, but I know Tim is really spearheading to get that graduate assistant back, and I hope it happens, because that was the one way that got me into coaching, and I truly hope that that graduate assistantship can come back. While I was at Miami, I worked for George. He was very detail-oriented. Both Coach Daniels and Coach Kaufman and I, all 3 of us went to the graduate assistant program at Miami. And we've always said we learned how to do things the right way at Miami. Not only was George instrumental, but Coach Katie was very instrumental as well. There was a few days where, Coach Famulak, we don't do that here at the Goggin. We had a few of those conversations. I had a chance to work with Bob Motzkow, Steve Miller, Mike Norton, and Dave Alori, who now those guys have all become very good friends of mine. I then had a chance to be hired at Ferris. Coach took a chance on me. I was 25 years old at the time, and he took a chance, on a young assistant to help him out. And through those 19 years, I worked with some very, very great people. I worked with Jamie Russell, who's doing a great job right now with Nate Lehman and Ben Barr at Providence. Seth Appert worked for us back then. He was a student assistant. Jeff Blashill then rolled in through the doors. And you know what he's doing right now with the Detroit Red Wings. Then we brought in Derek Newsy Lalonde. We don't have enough time to tell stories about Newsy. And one guy here that he didn't coach with us, but he played for us, is Trevor Large, who is currently at Army. And I'd like to thank him as well. Our current staff, I'd like to thank, starting with our strength and conditioning coordinator, David Sensor. Dave, in my opinion, is up and coming in terms of the strength and conditioning part of the game. He is not only a great person to work with, but he's a great person in terms of teaching our young kids how to become better on and off the ice. Mark Kaufman and I started together 19 years ago. Not too many people know that. I was young. Mark took me in, let me live with him for a year, kind of showed me the ropes, and then he went off to the San Jose Sharks and embarked on a pro career that eventually led him back to us. Coach Daniels, like I said, he took a chance on me 19 years ago. And I don't know how many people in this room remember, some will very well. I was working at Miami at the time. My first year at Miami, or at Ferris, was the first year that they had reinstated, they had won the battle to keep the hockey program. We were a program that was going to be eliminated, and there's some programs that have gone through that recently, and I just want to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It took us 5 years to stabilize the program, and we had a lot of great kids. The first class that we recruited, I wasn't there, it was recruited by Mark and Tommy Rudroot and coach. Everyone but one player made it down to the Frozen Four this year to watch us play. Mark actually brought that up. I didn't even recognize it, but Mark recognized it right away. It took us 5 more years, and we won our first CCHA title. If you know Coach Daniels, at the start of that first year there, he could have easily been looking for greener pastures, but if you know Coach, he dug in. He took it to heart, and one thing about Coach that I really, really enjoy is the fact that he thinks out of the box. We have to do things different at Fair State University. We understand that, and sometimes when you sit in meetings and you think, well, why is Bobby asking that question? And you sit back, there's a method to his madness. It might not come to fruition this year, but it might come a year from now. But the one thing that he has done is he's saved a program, which in my mind is one of the biggest things that you can do for an institution. And I'm just very, very honored to work for Coach Daniels. It took us another 10 years. We had some good years in between. And then obviously this year, when we got through Green Bay and we were heading down to Tampa, it was a culmination of 19 years. We had gone from dropping the program to winning our second CCHA regular season title to playing Boston College in the final game. And I was so happy for the institution. I was happy for the faculty and the staff. And I was really happy for the Bulldog Nation that they had a chance to share that with us down in Tampa. And I don't know if you watched the game this afternoon, but the Kreider crit is really, really good. I saw it firsthand, but I watched him again today, and that kid, Jerry's dynamite. He's better than I even thought he was. In closing, I would like to end with this. Brett Peterson hit it on the head. We are a community. We're a family. It's something that's very special. The camaraderie, the energy, and the passion that everybody exudes throughout this room. When I go to Muskegon, Coach Mason always takes the time to say hi to me and ask me how things are going. Coach Sauer took a few minutes the other day across the street. We were having a cup of coffee, and he took time to say hi to me. He didn't have to. Coach Berenson always says hi. Doesn't matter if we're coming off the ice, we're at a rink, he always stops to say hi, to share a few words. And today, Coach Parker at the pool, he stopped. He didn't have to, he was walking away. He stopped, congratulated our program on a great year, and said hi. That's what makes our community special, is the camaraderie and the passion that's in this room. And I'll never forget it. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
The John Snooks Kelly Founders Award. Named after the famed Boston College coach, this award honors those people in the coaching profession who have contributed to the overall growth and development of the sport of ice hockey in the United States. This year's recipient is Terry Moran from Castleton State. Sometimes you have to put a quick label on where the person's from, and sometimes a quick label doesn't capture the whole person. And as you'll hear, Terry's been a force not only at Castleton State, but in the state of Vermont. Terry Moran, whose membership in the AHCA stems from his current job as an assistant men's coach at Castleton State, has forged a unique record of assisting people in the state of Vermont. A 1972 graduate of St. Lawrence University, where he played varsity hockey before embarking on a brief professional career, Moran has been a force for change and learning on and off the ice. A USA Hockey referee for 2 decades, he seemed to find his calling when he got involved in coaching in the mid-1970s. He got his start at Norwich University as an assistant back in 1975. He moved on to Missisquoi High School in Swanton, Vermont, and then St. Michael's College in Winooski. In 1980, he moved to Rutland, where he became the go-to guy for the Rutland Amateur Hockey Association. He worked tirelessly as a board member and coach for the next 2 decades before returning to the college ranks at Castleton State. Said Castleton head coach Alex Todd, quote, "In the state of Vermont, there are only 5 college hockey programs. Terry has coached at 3 of them. Even with professional and collegiate experience, it was his dedication to youth hockey that kept him active in hockey. Over the last 30 years, Terry's dedication has grown exponentially within the world of Vermont hockey, and his name has become synonymous with success. Every player and parent who has worked with or been coached by Terry marvels over his ability to communicate basic hockey skills to all ability levels, from mites to college hockey. Terry Moran is a selfless volunteer." This is a quote now from Castleton President David Wolk. "Terry Moran is a selfless volunteer, a compassionate leader, a wonderful father and father figure, a benevolent corporate and community citizen, and an outstanding human being. In my 36 years as an educator, I have never encountered a more impressive educator, coach, or role model." The 2012 Snooks Kelly Founders Award goes to Terry Moran.
I have to take my time because I have the ability to do a John Boehner impersonation and get a little verklempt. Directors, members, guests, friends, and honorees, I want to start off by thanking Castleton College and Coach Alex Todd for nominating me. I also want to thank my wife and children for supporting me over the years, and I'm honored to be here. I grew up as a middle child in a family of 8 in a very rural community in the 60s. I know there are a few of you out there still remember that. Everyone helped each other in this town, and I learned a lot about volunteering. Hockey became my passion really early on, and eventually it became my ticket to college. This is where I first started coaching kids. First as a volunteer, later as a paid coach. I grew to love it. In Rutland, parents on our street would joke about their kids getting skates for birthday parties in the summertime. By fall, we'd have them on the ice. In Vermont, we especially enjoyed converting skiers and basketball players over to hockey and laughing about it. One of the kids that we converted was Castleton State College's President Dave Walk's son, and Dave was an avid basketball man. Quite sweet. Coaching hockey has been an extremely gratifying endeavor for me. Nothing compares to the relationships developed with my own children and all the others over the years. A few years ago at a youth hockey practice, a kid came to me and said, "My grandmother said to say hi to you." You coached her brother in high school. I thought to myself, time does fly when you're having fun. And in the interest of brevity, I'll keep this short. And tonight I want to leave you with one thought. It was a part of a quote that was written on the wall in the arena where I grew up, and I ad-libbed a little bit of the rest of it. It's, a kid on the ice is not in hot water because hockey coaches care. Thank you.
One last announcement before I read the final award and present it. For the award winners, some of these awards probably don't travel as easily as others. Some of them are glass. At the end of the evening, we do have boxes to help you travel back with your award. Also, for the NCAA coaches, in the interest of full disclosure, the glass crystal awards you see here that we presented to Bobby and to Jack, they're placeholders. They will stay here in Naples. We learned the hard way the first year when they arrived here in a number of pieces. So your actual award will be shipped directly to your school, and we'll use these for the ceremony this evening. And you'll notice there are two sizes. A number of years ago, Bruce Crowder, upon receiving his Coach of the Year award, on his own went out and bought replicas for his staff. And the board thought that was such a good idea that it's become part of the award process, where the head coach and the staff will receive their respective awards. We come to the final of the 5 major awards given by the AHCA. This is the John McKinnis Award, established by the AHCA in 1982 to honor former Michigan Tech coach John McKinnis. This award recognizes those people who have shown a great concern for amateur hockey and youth programs. The recipients have had high winning percentages, as well as outstanding graduating percentages among their former players. The winners of this award have helped young men grow not only as hockey players, but more importantly as men. This year's recipient is Phil Grady. Phil's success as the head coach at Hamilton College from 1984 to 2008 can be characterized not just by the success of his teams during his tenure, but the success of the young men that played under him. So many have gone on to apply those lessons learned through Hamilton hockey to their respective personal and professional lives as Hamilton alumni. Here are some of the highlights of Phil's career. In 24 years as the head coach, he had a record of 304 wins, 260 losses, and 34 ties. 16 winning seasons, 18 seasons in the playoffs, 1998 ECAC East champions. Recruited and coached 4 of Hamilton's 6 All-Americans, including NHL All-Star and U.S. Olympic goalie Guy Bear, class of '89. Maybe perhaps most importantly, 100% graduation rate of his players at Hamilton. His work ethic, determination, positive influence, and competitive fire served as the lasting characteristics of his tenure at the helm of Hamilton hockey. Further, his involvement with the USA Hockey developmental programs, as well as the Empire State Games in New York State, and the countless hours of youth hockey clinics and community involvement also serve as his legacy of commitment towards the growth and development of ice hockey in the United States. In 2008, he served as a volunteer and assistant coach in Ann Arbor with the NTDP, and he has spent 2 seasons as an assistant coach at Manhattanville. Said a longtime friend, Phil has always been a great motivator of men and always demanded from his players the same high levels of accountability, morality, and sportsmanship that he demanded from himself. He always exhibited an exceptional level of preparedness, and his trademark phrase of, quote, "If you're 5 minutes early, you're probably 10 minutes late," a phrase he would often use with both players and coaches, defined his commitment to excellence and his passion for success. Prior to coming to Hamilton, he served 3 years as an assistant to George Crowe at Dartmouth College. His first 2 jobs in coaching were at Albany Academy from '72 to '76 and Northfield Mount Herman from '76 to '80. Phil is a 1970 graduate of Norwich University. Phil's son Brian is the current head coach of men's ice hockey at SUNY Morrisville. It's a great pleasure to present the 2012 John McKinnis Award to Phil Grady.
I really would love to like to start by thanking everybody for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. I've had the greatest 2 days coming back down and getting to see so many old acquaintances and talking those same old hockey stories over the same old beers that all of the rest of you have been doing. They just get better every year, and it's been a very special time. Actually, in 1994, I stood up here and I had the honor to be a presenter, and I gave Coach Meredith, Jeff Meredith, for Feron the Coach of the Year Award. And I remember being up here thinking, what a tremendous opportunity for a coach like myself to be in front of such a distinguished body of coaches, and now to be a recipient of one of the major awards. It's humbling. It truly is humbling, and it's a great honor. I first want to congratulate all of the other award winners tonight. It's a very, very special night for all of you, your success and your achievements, and enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's a very special time. When I think of this award, and John Maruchi and his achievements, I think it's something like 555 wins and 7 WCHA championships, 3 national championships, and then you look at the winners on that list. That's a pretty impressive group of, it's like who's who in college coaching. So to even have my name associated with like that, I take great pride. Special thanks, obviously, to Joe Battaglia and Bruce Deventhal, the work that they do for so many years down here, and they've been very good friends to me. To the Board of Governors, obviously, the Awards Committee, and all of those coaches that were kind enough to write some nice words and nominate me for this award. I honestly believe it's a direct reflection, this award, of all of the outstanding young men that I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to have in my programs, and the tremendous young coaches that I've been associated with over the years. Their character, their efforts, their determination, whether it was at Albany Academy, as you mentioned, or Northfield Mount Herman, or Dartmouth, 24 years at Hamilton in Manhattanville. They've all been great experiences for me, being able to work with these outstanding people, and I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed even more thinking that might have had some little part in what they've done after they've gotten out of college, and watching the success that they've had in their personal lives and the success they've had in their professional lives. It gives me as much, if not more, of a thrill than it did when I was actually working with them on the ice. I'd like to give special thanks to George Crow. George Crow at Dartmouth gave me my first opportunity to coach at the college level, and a lot of people in this room have worked with George, and they can tell you he's a great mentor. He was a great mentor to me. He taught me the priorities of life, and he taught the priorities of family, and the priorities of hockey, and taught you that hockey is only a game, and to keep things in proper perspective, and always a gentleman, always a class act, and I owe a lot to George. Of course, a very special thanks to my family, my wife Beverly, sons Sean, Brian, Kevin. It's funny you were mentioning about the coaching. I was talking with Bobby Gaudette yesterday, and Bobby's had 2 of his sons play for him, and I was just mentioning what I know what a great special time that is for him, because I had the opportunity to coach Brian for 4 years, and then I also had the opportunity to have him work with me, and we coached together for a couple years, and then had the opportunity even to coach against him the last couple of years. And by the way, Brian, head-to-head, I'm still undefeated. So, and my son Kevin finished work yesterday up in New York, jumped on that red-eye flight, flew down here to be here tonight, and all of you know, as coaches, the sacrifice that your family goes through, the support. Guys, I love you. I'd like to accept this award. This might be a little different, but I'd like to accept this award on behalf of my wife, Beverly. Every married coach in this room knows how important your spouse is to any of the success in your career. I say we are all very gifted. We're very fortunate. We coach the best game. You can't have a better job. And I hope all of us are appreciating what we do, because we have a tremendous job here. And we have probably the best job, being a hockey coach. The life of a hockey coach is probably the toughest job. Raising the family and being supportive and being there for us. And I've been very fortunate for 34 years. I've had the opportunity to have a very special woman by my side. And last, I always believe that you live life to the fullest. For those young coaches, especially out here, it goes so quick. I say we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. John Wooden probably said it better when he said, let's make every day a masterpiece. Thank you. Thanks, Bruce.
Just a great night so far. I mean, it just reinforces my love of the game, and two things stand out for me so far as we're about halfway through. We have 6 more awards to give out, and that's, you know, when I think of hockey, I think of emotion. That's what drives the sport. It's what attracts me to the sport. I'm an emotional person. Much like Drew, I can't say my kid's name in public without getting emotional and just thinking about him. So I understand that. That's why I love this game, and also just how we really are all muckers and grinders, like I talked about in that piece. And, you know, I'm so lucky for my job. Every day, I know when I tell people it's mostly luck that I got to be where I am, and once, or at least the opportunity, and now just staying at ESPN for 15 years, it's really about mucking and grinding just to survive. And I'm reminded of a quick story involving Chris Berman to understand my place. And while I'll always understand my place and his place at ESPN, it was the 2003 Stanley Cup Finals, Devils, Ducks. You know, he used to go to the finals when the games were on ABC to kind of give it a big-time feel. So Chris Berman's there, you know, the Schwam. And the game started at 8, so it's like 11:30. It's in the old arena where the Devils played in, and they're on this scaffolding in between the Zambonis, and it's kind of, you know, it's crickety, and there's Barry Melrose and Berman up there, and we did NHL Tonight on the road when we went to the Stanley Cup Finals. And so they were taping something for our show that we were going to do later, a little 7-minute segment, 7 or 8 minutes talking about the series. And at the very end, you know, Berman's hot, he's tired, I don't think he really wants to be here. We've been flying back and forth, you know, New York, LA, out to Anaheim and back, and he does this long segment, and just as he finishes up, all right, guys, thanks, let's go back to NHL Tonight and John Buccigrass. He's always called me Buccigrass, I don't know why. So our producer gets in his ear, you see those earpieces we wear, they call them IFBs, and the producer can press a button, see, Chris, can we do that again? You said Buccigrass. And then, again, knowing my place at ESPN after this moment, he kind of pauses for a second. They know who we mean. So if you ever hear me on ESPN, sometimes say, they know who we mean. It's the punchline to that story. So again, we're all muckers, we're all grinders, so I'm certainly right there with you. On to the American Collegiate Hockey Association Non-Varsity Coaches of the Year. Like I told you about what intramural sports meant to me, and certainly if there was a non-varsity option as well. My son currently plays intramural hockey at the collegiate level. Also coach my son Jack, who has a baseball game tonight. I don't do a lot of these things because I don't want to miss stuff like that, but coaching Jack's teams have been great, and maybe in the future he'll be able to play you know, for a non-varsity team when he chooses to go to college. That's why, like I said, this is so important part of the college experience. We should continue to support it, and so glad that we are tonight. Marshall Stevenson.
First of the ACHA Coach of the Year awards is for the Men's Division III. The ACHA Men's Division III Greg Stathis Coach of the Year is Mike Guineville of the University of Alabama. In only his second season as head coach, Mike and his University of Alabama Frozen Tide had a most successful season, including an overall record of 25-15-1, and the first berth in team history to the ACHA Men's Division III National Championships as the number 3 South seed. The first Southeastern Collegiate Hockey Conference playoff championship in the team history, with wins over South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Florida. 2 wins at the ACHA Men's Division III South Regional Playoffs, which had clinched their berth to the Nationals, and an SECHC West Division regular season champions with a perfect record of 10-0-0. And raising $3,400 for the Acts of Kindness Fund, which was started to assist those who were affected by the tragic tornado storms of April 2011. A native of Messina, New York, Guineville played amateur, high school, and junior college hockey in northern New York while attending what is today SUNY Canton and playing for head coach Terry Martin. He received All-American status and was on the 1987 National Junior Collegiate Athletic Association National Championship team. Mike later transferred to the University of Alabama, Huntsville, where he would serve as a team captain. He was also selected to represent the United States at the 1989 Winter World University Games held in Sofia, Bulgaria. before graduating with a BSBA in procurement management. Following graduation, Mike served as an assistant coach and volunteer assistant coach at the University of Alabama, Huntsville. During this time, Alabama Huntsville won both the 1996 and 98 NCAA Division II national championships. Mike recently completed his 20th year volunteering in the Huntsville Amateur Hockey Association. He has volunteered for USA Hockey since 1994 and was named the Associate Coach-in-Chief for the Southern Amateur Hockey Association. Mike resides in Huntsville with his wife, Lisa. I give you Mike Quenneville, ACHA Division III Greg Stathis Coach of the Year.
Let me first of all stand up here and say thank you to USA Hockey and to the AHCA for allowing us to be here tonight to celebrate this great evening of all the winners in the different categories. It's an honor, and we say thank you to the ACHA, the Division III Commissioner Rick Kaminsky, and the South Region for allowing the University of Alabama as a family to come into this great conference. It's also a privilege and an honor to be here tonight, looking around the room and standing up here talking when I see some great people that I've watched on TV coach some great teams. Growing up in Messina, I've had some great coaches. Stan Moore Sr., that's not with us any longer. Then I went to Canton and Terry Martin, that I think a lot of you guys know. And then I transferred to Alabama Huntsville, played for Doug Ross for a couple years, and was an assistant coach for Doug for several years. And then playing for Coach Herb Hammond in 1989, representing our country to play overseas, was quite an honor. The University of Alabama, you know, I can't say enough of how I appreciate and I accept this award amongst all of our boosters, our players, our fans, and my coaching staff who's with here tonight. Ian Hebert, a graduate of University of Lowell. Brian Crawley, that's not here tonight, that played at University of Maine. And David Noble, who is a high school standout from Mount St. Charles. So I cannot accept this award on behalf of myself. I got to accept it on behalf of everybody, because as a true volunteer, it's not one person that can do everything. It's a bunch of people that can get things done. So I want to close by saying, my wife's not here tonight, but I better thank her, because commuting 2 hours one way to practices and games, and her putting up with that, being gone for practices and weekends, you know, it's something special. She is a Mississippi girl, so hockey in her world, you know, she's learning it. She's learned it. It's been 12 years, but she's, you know, from October to March, I don't see much of her. But I do appreciate her and her support and allowing me to do what I love to do. And that's, you know, not only communicating the game, but trying to make our kids better, so when they graduate, they're going to be in a professional career, being able to communicate, being able to do teamwork, and being successful beyond college. So on behalf of my club, the University of Alabama, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you.
The
The ACHA Men's Division II Coach of the Year is Fred Carpenito of Northeastern University. This is the first ACHA Men's Division II Coach of the Year for Fred, but not the first for the Carpenito family. Fred's son, Nick, is a two-time winner of the Women's Division Coach of the Year, also at Northeastern, winning the Division II in 2009 and the Coach of the Year for the Division I in 2011. This is perhaps a first for all of us, but this is certainly a first father-son tandem to have won both ACHA Coach of the Year awards. 2011-12 season was yet another stepping stone for Fred and his Northeastern University Huskies, including a 21-2-5 overall record and an automatic berth to the 2012 ACHA Men's Division II National Championships for the first time in team history as the #2 seed in the Northeast region. Winning back-to-back regular season championships in the Northeast Collegiate Hockey Association and a runner-up finish at the NECHA playoffs, losing a heartbreaker in 2 overtimes to Bryant. Fred joined the Northeastern University Huskies as an assistant coach in 2008, and in 2009 Fred took over as head coach, and by the following season the Huskies were able to break into the top 10 ranking in the Northeast region. A native of Tewksbury, Massachusetts, where Fred's father started the youth hockey program, Fred played through high school before turning to academics in the nuclear engineering program at the University of Mass, Lowell. Fred has officiated high school and college hockey since the early 1980s, recently working this year's playoffs in both the ECAC and the New England Small College Athletic Conference. Fred and his wife, Leonore, currently reside in Acton, Massachusetts. ACHA Division II Coach of the Year, Fred Carpenito.
Thank you very much. I do want to thank the ACHA for this recognition for both myself as well as my Northeastern club team. It was actually a real great surprise and a tremendous honor. Before I go on, I do want to thank Chris Wilk and Marshall and Mike Radakovich for all the work that you do for the ACHA. You do a great job and great for college hockey, no question about it. You know, after refereeing 30 years on the college circuit, there's actually 3 real good things that I like about coaching college hockey. One is that I don't get yelled at by fans. The second one is I don't get chased out in the parking lot by irate fans. And third, I don't have to get escorted out of rinks by the state police, all of which have happened, by the way. Not recently, maybe like 20 years ago. 4 specific things or 4 groups of people I want to mention. I've heard a lot about family, and you know, my family is a very great support structure for me. Wife Lenore, Nina, and you know, you've also heard about my son Nicholas. My team, very knowledgeable assistant coaches in Dwayne Trammell and Chi Say. Very highly skilled players and very strong character people. I also want to recognize my competition this year, which really has made us into a great team, really. First being the Florida Gulf State, Michigan, Colorado State. All of those teams really showed us how bad our penalty killing was, and I appreciate that because you know, next time around we'll get you. We also play in a really competitive league, the NECA Conference, which has BC, UConn, UVM, Bryant, Endicott, you know, the list goes on, RPI. There's no days off. It's great competition. And again, that makes us a better team. And then finally, one other support structure that it might not be as obvious as the others is, because I have been officiating college hockey for such a long time, I'm on the ice a lot with really great teams out of the NESCAC as well as the ECAC East Conference. When you're on the ice with teams from those conferences, you learn a lot about college hockey. So I want to specifically call out, some of the coaches that I've done your games over the years, and you might not have thought that I was actually watching, because I might have missed a call, but I was probably admiring your power play or your PK or something like that. So Bill Beanie from Middlebury, Jack Arena from Amherst, who is getting an award later on, Mike McShane from Norwich, and Terry Maha from Bowdoin. All great coaches, all great mentors. Whether you think so or not, us referees really do appreciate the job that you guys do for the sport as well as, the individuals. And lastly, to everybody in the room, I believe that the college hockey game really is the best version of hockey out there. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
The AHCA Men's Division I Coach of the Year is M.F. Sherman of the University of Delaware. The 2011-12 season was a crowning achievement for M.F. and his University of Delaware Blue Hens, including winning the 2012 AHCA Men's Division I National Championship for the first time in team history, winning the regular season championship of the Eastern Collegiate Hockey League with a 15-1-0 record, and being named the ESCHL Coach of the Year. He had a 34-3-1 overall record, including 12 and 9 game winning streaks and a 24-1-1 start to the season. The Blue Hens played 32 of its 38 games against top 25 AHCA Division I teams and claimed a 28-3-1 record in those games, peaking as the number 2 ranked team for the final 7 rankings of the season. In May of 2010, MF took over as head coach of the University of Delaware Blue Hens. Having coached junior hockey for the previous 10 years, it was a welcome change for MF. It took a mere 2 seasons for him to turn the program around and bring a national championship to Delaware. A native of Summerside, Prince Edward Island, MF played junior A hockey in his hometown, went to Mount Allison University in New Brunswick for 2 years, and then embarked on an 8-year professional career that included a stint with the Hartford Whalers of the National Hockey League. Highlights of MF's pro career include playing with the Hartford Whalers during the 97-98 season on a line with Gordie Howe, playing on championship teams with the Western International Hockey League Spokane Flyers in 1977-78, and the American League's Maine Mariners in 78-79, 83-84, and suiting up for the International League's All-Star Game in the 1978-79 season while scoring the winning goal for the North team at the 1982-83 Central Hockey League All-Star Game. MF has a long history of coaching. He coached at the University of Prince Edward Island, was instrumental in starting Tier 2 hockey in San Diego, California, and upon moving to the East Coast, coached the Philadelphia Little Flyers Junior A team in the Atlantic Junior Hockey League. MF is the proud father of 5 daughters, 2 granddaughters. MF and his wife, Susie, a former U.S. Olympic ice dancer, reside in Newark, Delaware. One little note. This was in his bio. I'm going to pass it out. I think the other day in the meeting, Joe was talking about the survey for the coaches in terms of the salary survey, and perhaps we should turn the camera off as to what I'm going to say right now. Little note said that many people say of their jobs, they like them so much they would do it for free. So it is fitting that MF and his entire staff are volunteer coaches at the University of Delaware. And I say this because this is often the case. We have the passion at the ACHA for the game, but as is often the case, not always the case, but most of our coaches are volunteer. MF Sherman, ACHA Division I Coach of the Year.
Thank you, Marshall. I'd like to thank Marshall, Brian Moran, and the executive board of the ACHA. Since I took over 2 years ago, just before this meeting, actually, they've been welcoming me with open arms and have been a great help in understanding the ways of ACHA hockey. I'd like to thank the ACHA Division I coaches for selecting me for this award. And I'd also like to congratulate the other award winners. I'm honored and humbled to be a part of this ceremony. I'm probably just a guy like most everybody in this room, and I just love the game of hockey, and I've been around it my entire life. Unlike most of you, I started watching hockey on a black and white TV in the early 60s when there were only 6 teams. And my idol was Gordie Howe, and my favorite team was the Detroit Red Wings. And eventually playing with Gordie and his 2 sons with the Whalers, and it was in 79, not 85. But playing with them was probably the highlight of my career, and if nothing else happened to me in hockey, that would have all been worth it. This is my 2nd year at Delaware. It's been quite a ride so far, making it to the Final Four of the national tournament last year and winning the national championship this year. Certainly there are a lot of people in my life who helped to make all of this possible. We kind of have a unique situation at our house. My wife Susie is a very accomplished figure skating coach and a former Olympian, so I'm just another coach at our house. And unfortunately, she couldn't be here today because she's doing a USFSA camp, actually at Hoover Arena, where we had the national championship tournament. Also, we have a very good team of coaches. Jesse McNulty, who's here this evening, Jordan Lagath, John O'Connor, and Nick Matarese. Like hockey is a team game, our coaching staff is basically a team, and everybody has their role, everybody does it well. I just kind of direct traffic and they do all the hard work. I think our success can be attributed mostly to the attitude and focus of our players, which has required a little manipulation over the last couple of years. They all wanted to win, but they were not getting the direction that they needed to figure out how to make it done. So I use the analogy of a group of people pushing a boulder up a hill. When we started out, we kind of had the boulder surrounded, so we weren't making too much progress. But over time, you know, we had an excellent group of kids. We had a lot of talent, and everybody got together and got on the same page, and we've been able to do some pretty good things over the last couple of years. The thing I stress most of all, and the word that they hear most from me, is the word consistency. Consistency of effort, consistency of commitment, consistency of focus, and consistency of competitiveness, not only in the rink and in the gym, but also in the classroom. I tell my guys at the end of the day, you've got to be able to look in the mirror and say, I did as much as I could today to make myself a better hockey player and make myself a better person. As long as I've been around the game, one thing has never changed. In hockey as in life, you get out of it what you put in. Hockey is a great teacher of life and life skills. I've always coached with the idea that I'm not in the business of creating pro hockey players, but in the business of teaching people how to be solid, successful citizens. After all, as the ad says, most of these guys are going pro in something else other than hockey. Many of the presenters have talked about the hockey family, and I think as long as I've been around the game, I could probably sit down with anybody in this room and we'd have, even though we've never met, we probably have many, or at least some acquaintances or friends or former teammates or former coaches that we have in common. And that's one of the nice things is, as many people as there are involved in the game, it's really a very tight-knit community, and I enjoy that aspect of it. And my line was stolen. The stories get better every year with the with the guys that you meet up with on an annual basis. I found over time that as difficult as it is to get to the top, it's more difficult to stay there. I'm very proud of our team and staff and what we've been able to accomplish so far, and I look forward to the challenge of maintaining our standing and continued success. On a side note, it's exciting for me to see John Butchergrass here. I enjoy your work. And I just wanted to see if I could get a couple names in on the Butchergrass Overtime Challenge here in case we have overtime tonight. Anyway, thank you all for your time, and congratulations to all the other winners.
It's my pleasure to present our final two awards this evening to our two NCAA Coaches of the Year. And just a special side note, this is the first time that our NCAA Coaches of the Year are sponsored by Flex Coach. Is Keith Blaze here? Keith, would you please stand? Keith from Flex Coach, thank you very much for your sponsorship of these two awards. Jack Arena, who led Amherst College into the NCAA Division III Men's Ice Hockey National Championship semifinals with a 24-3-1 record, has been named the 44th recipient of the Edward Jeremiah Award given annually to the Men's Division III Ice Hockey Coach of the Year. Amherst won the program's second conference title after defeating Middlebury for the third time this season, and followed that with a 3-1 win over Plattsburgh in the NCAA quarterfinals. This year was Amherst's first ever trip to the national semifinals, as the Jeffs had come up short in their two previous NCAA quarterfinal appearances. Arena is finishing his 29th season at Amherst, where he's compiled a record of 376 wins, 290 losses, and 50 ties. He stepped into the head coaching position immediately following graduation from Amherst in 1983. He served as the Amherst captain during the 1982 and 83 season, which he also received at that time the Division III Hobie Baker Award. He remains the fourth leading scorer to this day in Amherst hockey history. A native of Randolph, Massachusetts, Arena also serves as the Amherst golf coach. The Edward Jeremiah Award is named in the honor of the great Dartmouth College head coach and was first presented back in 1970. It is now my pleasure to introduce the 2012 Edward Jeremiah Award winner from Amherst College, Jack Arena.
John, I'm afraid I might be the bender of speeches tonight. I'd like to congratulate all the award winners tonight. Bob and his great season with Ferris, and a lot of people in college hockey following that closely and rooting awfully hard for you. And Phil Grady. Amherst and Hamilton are travel partners, so we spent many a Saturday morning on the phone together, exchanging scouting reports, and we had a great benefit being their travel partner. Phil's teams always played so hard and tough and physical, and there was many a Saturday where we had teams limping in to Amherst. And Phil, I can thank you for a lot of things, but that's right up there. I wish I could describe what it felt like when this award was announced. Chris Potter would probably say the reason I have a hard time describing it is because I have such a poor vocabulary. But Joe referenced it, Phil referenced it. You look back at the list of people who have received this award, and you have some of the terrific coaches who are working today, Mike McShane, Tim Coughlin, Bill Beanie. But when you look back to some of the guys who won it early, names like Sid Watson and Wendy Forbes and Don Roberts, just guys who are legends. And it's really an honor to have your name on a list with them. And I'm just as proud to be receiving an award named after Eddie Jeremiah. I have a friend who's an athletic director at Dartmouth, and he heard about this and he called me and he was all excited. And about 3 or 4 minutes into the conversation, I realized he had no idea what the award was for, just that it was named after Eddie Jeremiah. And the more I talked to him and I read a little bit about him, he was right. To receive an award named after Eddie Jeremiah, it doesn't matter what it is, it's an accomplishment. There are a few people I'd like to thank. First, my wife, Diane, who her support and sacrifice through the years has allowed me to do my job the way I would like to. We had a pretty accurate portrayal of how absorbed we get in season today. And it's true. And her understanding certainly makes things work for us and our family. And I consider myself very, very lucky. Our kids didn't make it down. They're 22, 19, 17, and 15. Who knows what they're doing right now? I'd also like to thank my staff, Mike McLaughlin, Greg Donato, Chris Hall. They do such a great job on the ice and off the ice. They put together a group of kids that allowed us to have the success we did this year. And our football coach has a good saying. He says, the key to success is recruiting well enough so it doesn't have to come down to coaching. So I think finally we're getting closer and closer every day with that one. The best part of tonight, though, is the fact that my father gets to be here for this. He makes it to almost all of our games. He's as recognizable a face around our program as any. And at 85, he's only 2 years older than Jack Parker. There's one other just small thing. We had a goalie this year. He was all conference. He was the conference player of the year. He was the New England Division II and III MVP. He was a first-team All-American, and he won the Sid Watson Award for the Division III National Player of the Year. Now, how much coaching do you need to do when you have someone like that? And during the end of the year, down the stretch, in some of his acceptance speeches for some of the awards he's won, he's always thanked his teammates, but he's also spent the majority of his time thanking the staff. This kid led the nation in save percentage, led the nation in winning percentage, led the nation in shutouts. He set the NCAA Division III career save percentage record, and when he's asked about his and the team's success, he thanks me. That's coaching. Thank you.
For his efforts in leading Ferris State University to his first NCAA Division I men's ice hockey Frozen Four appearance in school history, Bob Daniels has been chosen winner of the 2012 Spencer Penrose Award as the Division I men's ice hockey flex coach, AHCA Coach of the Year. Easy for me to say. For Daniels, this marks the second Penrose Award, having been previously honored by his peers back in 2003. Daniels Bulldogs captured the regular season title in the CCHA. They advanced then to the Frozen Four in Tampa by virtue of winning the NCAA Midwest Regional in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ferris State defeated the University of Denver in the opening game 2-1, and then came back down and downed Cornell University by the same score in the final. Daniels, this year's CCHA Coach of the Year, is completing his 20th season as the head coach at Ferris State. He arrived on campus at Ferris State in 1989 and served as an assistant coach under John Perpich for 1 year and Bob Mancini for 2. He was then named head coach in 1993. The Spencer Penrose Award is named in memory of the Colorado Springs benefactor who built the Broadmoor Hotel complex, the site of the first 10 NCAA championship hockey tournaments. It is now my pleasure to introduce the 2012 Spencer Penrose Award winner from Ferris State University, Bob Daniels. Bob.
Thanks, Brett. I'd also like to thank Joe and Bruce for all the years of service you guys have put into the association. I'd like to thank the Flex people as well for helping sponsor tonight's event. My wife and family were unable to make it tonight because my father-in-law is having some surgery, and nothing too serious, but at his age, I guess everything, it can have complications. But my son is a huge fan of ESPN, a huge fan. And I was talking to him today and had mentioned that there was a ESPN celebrity here as the MC, and trying to let him know what a special and big night it is. And I was wondering, John, if you didn't mind, if you would autograph one of the programs if you could. I know it's a little awkward, if you could just say to Peter from Chris Bourbon. It would mean a lot. As everybody here knows, the Coach of the Year award is really, truly a team award. And of all the awards that are always given out every year to teams, to different individuals, I always have felt that any of the Coach of the Year awards for anyone that receives them is strictly due, and they're receiving it on behalf of their players and coaches. And certainly I was blessed with great players this year and just a terrific coaching staff. And I would like to recognize these coaches, Drew Famulak, Mark Kaufman, and Dave Sensor. Please stand up. I'm very fortunate to work with this staff for such a long time, and what really makes it truly special for me is the fact that not only the great coaches and great people, but the most important thing for me is they're great friends, and I certainly cherish that friendship. I've been lucky over the years to work with a lot of great players and other coaches, and a number in attendance tonight, and I want to thank them for their help and support over the years. And that includes Jamie Russell, Seth Appert, Trevor Large, Jeff Blashill, and Mike Skajinski. And I'm very appreciative, and I know you're the ones in the room tonight, but if you could pass on those words of thanks, not only to the other coaches that have been with us, but also to our past players, I'd appreciate it. During the course of the year, like everybody, we have our ups, we have our downs, and near the end of the season, we lost a really difficult series to Bowling Green. We were the number 1 seed, they were the number 11 seed, and we were fortunate in our league meetings that Fred Plutch pointed out that's the first time in 31 years that it ever happened. I want to thank Fred for that. But it was a difficult time, obviously, and I received a number of calls from that point forward from a lot of the different coaches throughout college hockey, and I'll probably miss some of them, but there was words of encouragement for our staff, and then there was also some great words of advice, and I wanted to thank Red Berenson and Billy Powers, Rico Blasi, Nate Lehman, Seth Appert, Jamie Russell, Jeff Jackson, and Ron Mason for some really, I thought, calls, Dick Humilly with an email, just at the right time when we really needed it, and I took that to heart, and it was much appreciated. We've all thanked families up here. Certainly I'm very blessed with a loving and wonderful family. I've got just a quick story because we all, and I think this typifies any coach in the room, certainly all the coaches that have families, that we become so consumed with the job at times, and life just tends to march forward. And my wife is the director of Christian education at our church, and one day the pastor called her into his office and had said, we noticed on your offering envelopes that we have odd random numbers written on those. My wife looked at it and said, oh, that's next week's line combinations. And that's our power play. So anyways, it just gives you an idea of what our lives are like here, and obviously I don't listen very well at church, but on a Sunday morning after a tough Saturday, it seems to be the right time to work on the next week's game plan. But I do want to thank my family for being so supportive and so wonderful. And then finally, I'd like to congratulate all the other award winners and all the champions this past year and all the future champions that are here in this room. Thank you.
Okay, we're just about done. We're going to have a video queued up for you to watch to kind of end our evening. But again, coaches matter. My high school coaches, some of my best memories are from there. I remember in gym class once we were picking sides for a team. I picked my first guy, and the other guy picked his first guy, and it was one of the best players in this particular class. And I didn't see the kid; he was sitting behind somebody else, so I kind of let out a naughty word. Earmuffs, no pictures. And Coach Manny was, Richard Ross, give me 10 push-ups. And while you're at it, say a Hail Mary. So I called those Hail Mary push-ups, and he's now the Michigan State strength coach, and I saw him a couple years ago, and now we laugh about the Hail Mary push-ups. But like I said, I'm a USA hockey coach. I've coached my son Jack, and he knows when he has good coaches. You know, he wants coaches who are organized and passionate and push him. And of course, that's the goal of every coach, to do that. And the kids want it, as you know. They want to be challenged. They don't want to be demeaned, but they want to be pushed, and they want organization and passion. And that's what everyone in this room certainly exhibits, and it's great to be a part of it. Like I said, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I wear makeup and talk about sports. So, and then I go on TV and do it. So it's couldn't be any luckier than that. It's been a great couple of days in Naples. This is a beautiful part of the world, and to be in a room with you the last couple of days has been awesome. So again, I talked about yesterday how important media is to reach your future players, your future customers, as you try to recruit and grow the game, and you can do it with media. You know, push your schools to get better equipment. Just let you know, people will send us goals, great goals, a great shootout goal, but if the video is not good, ESPN doesn't want to use it. Quality matters. So try to push your athletic departments in your schools to get good cameras and get good video equipment and get good editing systems. So you can create these great little music videos and great little montages, which we at ESPN love to do, love to create them because people love to watch them. We're going to watch one in a second that took place and kind of encompasses Frozen 4 Eve that was shown, and to show the passion of the game and the great things. So like I said, keep pushing to get good equipment, and make sure you push those freshmen to make sure they keep everything in frame, Coach Blasey, to keep giving them the business. So again, as we say goodnight and goodbye, let's take a look at the video, another great example of our great game and the great people in it.
The award winners are invited to come up for their group pictures. Thank you, everyone, for being here.